just take money and abscond with it, help the state plunder her estate. Hung up. Another lawyer.
This is attorney Camilla Rogers, another whore of the court appointed under the pretext of representing Miss Houzouris' best interests. When I first spoke to attorney Rogers, she told me that after reviewing all of Silvia's evidence, she could find no reason why she was in jail or a mental institution. Silvia also fired attorney Rogers, but of course the judges refused to allow Silvia a GAL of her own choice. Attorney Rogers conspired with the judges and the other court-appointed lawyers to liquidate Silvia's estate and divide it up amongst themselves. Miss Houzouris is a highly functioning individual. She has a master's degree in music and worked as a teacher. Her mother, Iveta, ran this daycare center, which is now empty and represents yet another thriving business destroyed by the legal industry for profit, using KGB tactics such as unlawful detention, malicious prosecution, forced psychiatric interrogation, and forced psychotropic drugs. These very tactics are now being used here to force innocent American citizens to transfer all of their funds into the legal industry, or they'll never get out of jail. I filed a criminal complaint with the Maryland State Police. I spoke with Trooper Knight and for almost a half hour unsuccessfully tried to have him address the evidence that proved Miss Houzouris innocent. Trooper Knight said he had started an investigation of me and that I wasn't a forensic investigator and implied I was Miss Houzouris' boyfriend. I assured him I had never met Miss Houzouris and that her exhibits told the story and not me. When he still wouldn't address the evidence, we arranged for him to record our review of Miss Houzouris' exculpatory evidence. Of course, Trooper Knight never got back to me, and like every other official in Maryland's state-sanctioned kidnapping scheme, the state police don't have the balls to discuss Miss Houzouris' evidence on the record. Go to YouTube and type in Soviet refugee, American refugee, and learn about the state-sanctioned kidnapping of Elena Katz's-child. She was brought up in the Soviet Union and came to America for a better life, only to have her daughter kidnapped by the New Hampshire kidnap-for-profit scheme run by Attorney General Kelly Ayotte and Governor John Lynch, using the same KGB-style tactics. You'll hear Elena complain that the American justice system is worse than the KGB because the KGB never targeted children. A powerful statement from someone who's experienced both systems. Child Protective Services told Elena they were going to destroy her family. Please note the similarity with Silvia's case, which also started out with a threat and a vendetta. In both Silvia and Elena's cases, they presented evidence to the court that proved their innocence, but the judges ignored it. Elena and her daughter fled to Massachusetts for protection from the vendetta of the New Hampshire authorities. She was arrested in Massachusetts with the signatures of Attorney General Martha Coakley and Governor Deval Patrick. They signed an arrest warrant based on the word of Attorney General Ayotte and Governor Lynch. After she was arrested, Elena demanded to see the arrest warrant from New Hampshire. They kept her in jail for a year with the threat that she would never get out if she didn't stop asking for the arrest warrants. Sound familiar? Silvia Houzouris is still being unlawfully held with the same threat that if she doesn't stop talking about judicial corruption, she'll never get out. Massachusetts Attorney General Martha Coakley also worked with Massachusetts Governor William Weld to help kidnap my son using illegally altered court hearing tapes, transcripts, and dockets. As with Silvia and Elena's case, I too was unlawfully incarcerated, maliciously prosecuted, and unlawfully assessed $20,000 in court fees. And 2 days after I proved to the court that the district attorney was using altered documents to railroad me into jail, I was dragged from my car, beaten and hospitalized by 2 off-duty state troopers with the threat that if I ever go back to court, I'll never see my son again. The same KGB tactics as used in Silvia's case, Elena's, and countless other victims across the country. Eventually, the evidence I presented forced Attorney General Coakley to admit in federal court that Massachusetts judges and lawyers operate courts as criminal enterprises. But she conspired with U.S. District Court Judge Rhea Zobel to alter the dockets in U.S. District Court to dismiss my case. Attorney General Coakley also worked with this governor, Mitt Romney. Governor Romney's staff scheduled an appointment after they reviewed my evidence proving Massachusetts courts alter records to kidnap children like my son Ian. Governor Romney canceled the meeting at the last minute with no explanation and turned away while the Massachusetts court system continued to kidnap children for profit. And Governor Romney stood by and watched while the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, the same judges that legislated from the bench the gay marriage law, used my case to rewrite the Massachusetts anti-SLAPP law to immunize my ex-wife and all women who commit perjury, and immunize her social worker husband and all social workers that submit fraudulent evaluations. The author of the anti-SLAPP law, State Representative Philip Travis, and not Governor Romney, helped me sponsor a bill of address to remove Margaret Marshall, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Judicial Court, for legislating from the bench and treason. Governor Romney also went on to deny he knew anything about the Violence Against Women Act, which brought hundreds of millions of dollars into his state each year to target one group for destruction. Governor Romney, like every governor in the country and every attorney general and every lawyer and judge, knows that the Violence Against Women Act is unconstitutional because it violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. And considering that judges have revealed that about 70 to 80% of the abuse allegations against men are false, there's no reason to pass unconstitutional hate legislation that targets one group for destruction unless you're doing it to fund a malicious prosecution for profit scheme. For example, in the Duke lacrosse case, why did prosecutor Mike Nifong continue to prosecute the Duke lacrosse players after he discovered that they were innocent? For Violence Against Women Act funds. And what happened to Prosecutor Nifong for unlawfully plundering taxpayer money in the form of Violence Against Women Act funds? Nothing. The Duke lacrosse players' families were destroyed financially, but none of the perpetrators of the malicious prosecution were held responsible. The Child Support Incentive Grant is another unconstitutional funding source that rewards states and their judges for getting rid of the father and creating child support payments. This funding source is the sole reason why judges rarely award joint custody. Federal funds are fueling the malicious prosecution for profit schemes run by lawyers and judges in state and federal courts, while governors like Mitt Romney claim they know nothing about these lawyer-run racketeering schemes. Also on YouTube is a video called Deconstructing America, Part 1 and 2. It contains interviews with many parents who lost their children by way of courts illegally altering transcripts and hearing tapes to remove the evidence of their innocence. Illegally editing court hearing tapes or manipulating the court files. And several lawyers who were disbarred for complaining that their clients' tapes were illegally altered to unlawfully take their children.
Children are removed from their parents without any show of wrongdoing.
This amounts to nothing more than a state-sanctioned kidnapping.
This is Representative Darrell Issa, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. He declared on comedian Bill Maher's Real Time that there is no tyranny in America.
To have a right both to protect themselves and to be protected from living under tyranny. Nobody in this room has lived under tyranny. Just give me one.
That is a degenerate lie, because I supplied Representative Issa and his Oversight Committee, and Lamar Smith and his Judiciary Committee, and Attorney General Eric Holder with the evidence to prove that every agency of the Department of Justice has first-hand knowledge that state and federal courts are altering court records. Yet, under the supervision of President Obama and Attorney General Eric Holder, the FBI, U.S. Marshals, U.S. Attorneys, and the Inspector General's office all are suppressing evidence to allow judges and lawyers to operate courts as criminal enterprises in which they terrorize and destroy innocent American parents and children for profit. Lawyers, judges, and politicians gain power by suppressing and ignoring evidence. That's why Representative Issa and Representative Smith won't allow me or other victims of state-sanctioned kidnapping to testify before their committees on the record. When President Obama appointed Joe Biden the author of the unconstitutional Violence Against Women Act, he sent a clear message to all lawyers and judges: business as usual. Continue the malicious prosecution of parents and the human trafficking of children for profit, as there will be no oversight from the Obama administration, in violation of the President and Eric Holder's oath to the Constitution.
We need to hold people accountable, and that's we're bound and determined to do that here at the Justice Department.
The evidence reveals that America is not a country of laws, but a country of the lawyers, by the lawyers, and for the lawyers, and the racketeering schemes they operate in state and federal courts. Is there another country where the President, Vice President, Legislature, Department of Justice, and local lawyers conspire with a corrupt judiciary to maliciously prosecute parents and human traffic in children for profit? Join Justice for Families to help free Silvia Houzouris and end state-sanctioned kidnapping for profit.